All right, guys, let's go ahead and do some more simplifying radicals. Remember, our goal is to get it into prime values or as close to prime values as we can. So here's our first one. So we're looking to simplify 160, the square root of 160. So I'm going to stretch this out into prime factors. So it looks like we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So it would be 2 to the 5th times 5. So then times 5. Now my index is 2. So I'm going to circle groups of 2. So here's a group of 2. Here's a group of 2. That is all I can circle. So I'm going to take out the 2's and put those in front because I was able to circle a pair of each of those. And now I'm left with the square root of 2 times 5. So now, in the front, 2 times 2 is 4. So I have 4 times the square root of 10. All right, here's another one. This time we're going to use some variables. So again, I'm going to stretch this guy out. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. And then I have n times n times n. So our index again is 2. So I'm going to circle groups of 2. So here's a group of 2, here's a group of 2, and here's a group. So as I take those out, I have a 2, and an n. Oops. So taking those to the front, I have 2 times 2 times n, and I'm left with 3 times n under the radical. Now I'm going to start multiplying and simplifying further. 2 times 2 is 4, so this would be 4n, and then left under the radical I have 3n. So this would be as simplified as we can get it. All right, here's our next one. Now, if you notice, there's an x hanging out front, and that's fine. So we can leave that hanging out front. Now I'm going to stretch it out. So I have 2 times 3 times 5 times 5 times x. Again, the index, that x doesn't tell us what the index is. The index is 2. More times than not, it's going to be 2. So I'm only able to circle a pair of 5's and a pair of x's. So those are what's going to be pulled out. So when I write it out front, I have x, which is already there, times 5 times x, and then I'm left with 2 times 3 under the radical. Now, what's out front is x times 5 times x. And remember, order doesn't matter, so I'm going to write this in the simplest way I can, which is going to be 5x squared, because remember, x times x is x squared, times the square root of 6. So here is our final solution. Let's try some more. So now we're going to do, we have something special hanging out here. We have that negative. So that negative is still going to hang out there. So we have a -3. And let me expand out what I have, which would be 3 times 3 times 5 times y times y times y. So now my index is 2 still. I'm going to circle anything I can group together in 2's or pairs. And that's what's going to be coming out of that radical. So hanging out front, I have -3 times y. Under the radical, I'm left with 5 times y. Now let's go ahead and simplify the best we can. -3 times 3 is -9, and of course the y, times the square root of 5y. Yet again, here we go. I know this is, again, the more you see it, the more you practice it, the better it's going to get. So here I have -2b hanging out front. Under the radical, I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 17 times b times b. My index is 2, yet again. So I'm going to circle anything that has pairs, which is the 2 and the b. So when I go to write this, I have negative 2b times 2 times b, and then left under the radical 2 times 17. Now this piece is we got to simplify. So negative 2 times 2 is a negative 4. B times b is b squared. And then under the radical, 2 times 17 is 34. So that is as simplified as we can get that one. I have one more for you. Lucky you. Oh, I don't.